This is your friendly neighborhood talent strategy nerd, Dr. Jim, and I am hanging out live at HR Transform 2024 in the Wynn Resort in Las Vegas. And we are busting some myths. And we have Lesjune, who is the Chief Human Resources Officer of Valle del Sol, hanging out with us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm pretty pumped to have this conversation with you and looking forward to what you come up with. Before we get into the myth busting segment of the conversation, I think it's important for you to tell a little bit of your story, the work that you're involved in, and maybe even some stuff about the company that you work for.
Been in HR for about 15 years now. Funny to be back in Vegas because about 15 years ago, I was a Vegas cocktail waitress. So that's a little bit of history that nobody would ever expect from a CHRO, correct? And I love HR. I love all things HR. Being a cocktail waitress drove me to HR. Seeing what goes wrong with the people who are considered lower level. I wanted to make sure that every employee always had respect. And I'm really big on that. You have to respect all of your employees. They are the ones who make you money. So that's how I got into HR.
There's something really interesting that you mentioned about your background that caught my attention, and that was your experience as a cocktail waitress and how that informed some of your viewpoints in terms of people strategy. Tell us a little bit more about how that shows up when you're doing the work. When you look at talent strategy, talent attraction, talent development, how does your experience as a cocktail waitress and what you experienced during that time show up in those key elements of the employee life cycle?
In the employee life cycle, I realized that everybody can have a chance to be a leader. Anyone can be in management if you give them the skills, if you give them the chance. You have to see people. You have to help people learn. You have to watch who has the charisma, the tenacity. It's all about people who are putting in the work and they're showing up. Those people who are there when you're there, the people who stay longer when you're not there just because they love the work, really looking at those people and then honoring them and trying to give them the chance of the stretch goals. Maybe they didn't even know they could become the next leader. They didn't know that they could be someone that adds immense value, that they're already adding immense value because they're working those late hours. We run on those employees who are doing the extra work. So I realize it from a different level than some people who have maybe not worked in the background of the scenes and had to do maybe what somebody would call the hard grit work.
There's a couple of things that I really like about what you mentioned. One was your intention of giving people chances and opportunities, but there's another element of what you said that I found interesting. And that was your emphasis on tenacity. Where does that come from? Why is that important?
Tenacity is really important because it shows me that you want to do the work and you're passionate about the work. And the only way to be successful is to have that passion. And passion comes from a lot of things. I've heard somebody say that a lot of people's passion comes from their faith. So they transformed it into a passion, which transforms into being amazingly successful. I look at people when they're interviewing, how many times they've interviewed. People will tell you a lot of things about themselves in an interview or even when they write a cover letter. And to see the people who keep trying, who want to learn, not just about degrees or anything, but the length of time they've worked at somewhere and they just stayed at this lower level and no one ever gave them the fair chance or shot. If I give this person a shot, what will they do? And it's like my current boss, he took a shot on me. I've been stuck at the director level for a very long time. And he seen my resume and he gave me a shot as a chief. Right now for him, working day and night, trying to knock it out of the park because I love what I do.
You ready to bust some myths?
Yeah, let's bust some myths.
All week, we've been talking to executives and senior leaders in HR and asking them about the leadership or HR myth that just annoys the hell out of them and they wish would die. So what's yours?
That HR is just there to punish you and that you should be scared of HR. That is a myth that I wish would just die. Every place I've worked at, people are like, oh, no one likes HR. Oh gosh, if HR calls, they don't want to answer the phone. And that's not what HR is about. HR is about the development of people. We bring the people in, we hold that whole employee life cycle like you discussed. There are people retiring and we want to see people do well and thrive. HR is not the people who punish you. We're also not the paper pushers.
That's an interesting answer. And I like that from a theory perspective, but oftentimes as somebody who hasn't been in HR, I've been on the revenue side of the organization and I've typically engaged with a lot of HR leaders. Anytime HR hits my inbox with an email, I think I'm off to the principal's office. So if I think that perception exists that
Yes.
HR is really the stick versus the carrot. So what can practitioners and HR leaders do to shift that perception and be much more intentional about the things that you mentioned?
That starts with orientation. As soon as somebody is coming into the company, it should be up to the HR leader to step into that new hire training, introduce themselves, let everybody know who they are, let everybody know that their door is open, let everybody understand that they're there to help them. If there's any issues, they can come to them. If they want to try a different track, career progression, you can come to them. If they have a training person, getting them that way, letting them know that they're really there to assist them. Obviously, we are there as the HR professionals to protect the company as well. If you ask me, we split as HR. We are there for the employer and we are there for the employee. We have to be there for the employee. That's what we are there for. But most people have not seen it that way. They've seen it happen and reverse. And it should be about people understand that we are also there to develop them.
Great stuff. I appreciate you sharing that. This is just a teaser of a much longer conversation, I'm sure. If people want to continue the conversation, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yes, they can get in touch with me on LinkedIn. It's Lesjune, so Lesjune with an accent on it. Simone is my last name. You can find me on LinkedIn there or .com.
Thanks for hanging out with us and helping us bust some myths.